Us live from the SADC Summit. A very good morning to you, Mweli. Do tell us, what is the mood like at the summit today amidst, of course, Grace Mugabe's diplomatic debacle? What are people and those gathered there saying about this matter?
Good morning to you, Alicia, and the viewers. Yes, we are coming to you live from the DECO offices here in Pretoria. This is where the SADC Summit is underway. On the issue of Grace Mugabe, you'll know that we're expecting that, of course, she's going to be the center of attraction here at the SADC Summit following that assault incident. But as you know, that most of us here as media people, we haven't had a glimpse of her. The information we're getting is that now she's back home with the president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe. So there isn't much information about that one. But what I can tell you is that yes, today it is the closing day of this summit, of the SADC Summit. We're expecting the new chair, which is President Jacob Zuma, to sort of make some closing remarks. You'll know that from yesterday, he also delivered a speech after taking over from the outgoing chair, which is King Mswati III of Swaziland, pointing out that yes, the key focus in this summit was the issue of regional integration. All these member states are interested in seeing these countries that are member states growing their economies, and of course saying that that can't be achieved without these countries having peace and stability, which was also focused on this agenda. You'll know that on the issue of peace and stability, there are countries that came up, that like the DRC, Mozambique, Lesotho. So the issue here is that something must be done to ensure that people in those countries are enjoying human rights as expected. Hence, you will know that yesterday outside, whilst the summit was still ongoing, there were protests outside. Those protests led by the SADC Democracy Forum, consisting of representatives from different countries, including, as I mentioned, the DRC, Zimbabwe, and many others. What they are saying is that they are not happy with some of the issues that are being addressed here. They are saying that there's still a violation of human rights, for example, in the DRC, pointing out that President Kabila should have stepped down by now, but that is something that hasn't happened as per his promise. So they're saying that those issues should be looked into. And also on the issue of Swaziland, we spoke to some of the representatives of political parties, Pudemo, for example, saying that from their side they believe that Swaziland shouldn't have been in the first place allowed to be a member of SADC, and also saying that they were very hurt to know that Swaziland, the head of state, King Mswati III, was made also to be the chairperson of the SADC. They're saying they were not expecting a man who is not abiding by the SADC mandate. They're saying that he's violating human rights. There's people who are still in exile. So they're saying they were not expecting him to be the chair of SADC. So those are some of the issues. Of course, we are expecting today to be briefed about what exactly happened on the issue of some states wanting to join SADC. We know that the issue of the Union of Comoros, they're also interested. We know that the Republic of Burundi is also interested.
Yeah.
What we have heard is that as I wrap up, what we have heard is that it is likely that the Union of Comoros will be given the membership, but Burundi, in terms of qualifications, there are some doubts there. Alicia.
Mwele, talk to us about some of the decisions, that will be taken here. We know that South Africa, as the new chair of course, the SADC committee, they have the responsibility to make sure the implementation goes about smoothly. Talk to us about some of maybe your top 3 highlights of some of the decisions that we're taking here that are going to be expedited to address some of the everyday challenges that the people in this region are actually facing.
Yes, Alicia, one of the issues that has been put forward is the issue of lack of funding. There must be a way to mobilize in terms of getting resources. As you'll know, that President Zuma highlighted that he's excited that quite recently there is a discovery of natural gas in many of the member states in the SADC region. For example, in Mozambique, that discovery was made, but Then the challenge is the lack of funding. How do we then extract that natural gas, which will then help in terms of boosting in the sector of energy? As you know that South Africa as well was facing an energy crisis, but what they are saying now is that despite this abundant natural gas in the region, there isn't a way of extracting those raw materials, and the fact that there must be establishment of structures that will be able to provide those finances in order to assist. So that's the main issue as well. And as you know that the Prime Minister of Lesotho as well highlighted on the issue of water scarcity, saying that he is prepared to come up with that proposal whereby there will be a pipeline coming from Lesotho to Botswana to provide water. And President Zuma saying that he is also interested. South Africa must also be included in that proposal.
Mweli, talk to us about intra-trade. I mean, it's been very, very topical, as well as this regional integration. How does the heads of state actually propose that they're going to fast-track these issues when it comes to the intra-trade and the regional integration?
Yes, intertrade, one of the points is that there must be flexibility in terms of the laws between these countries so that there can be able to be free trade. And of course, the issue of infrastructure. Without the proper infrastructure, these countries won't be able to promote trade or have that intertrade process coming through. So those are the issue of infrastructure is very important. You will know that already there are some projects in Mozambique whereby the member states are hoping that in terms of transportation of goods, that will be easy. So that's one of the issues. And you will know that later this month there will be the Maputo International Trade Fair, where about 20 companies from South Africa will be participating. So I think from what we have heard here, the SADC member states are quite positive in terms of intertrade.
All right. And Mweli, just before I let you go, we know that President Jacob Zuma is expected, of course, as the chair to wrap up the whole proceedings. And it's also been moved from 2 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Tell us how that's all going to unfold and what can we expect from that wrapping address and what's going to happen from there on.
Well, we are not expecting much, but what we are expecting is that, of course, we'll have a thorough briefing on what exactly were the resolutions on some of the discussions that were taking place, especially on the issue of peace and stability. Because what we've heard as well is that the member states or the head of states might compel the DRC to sort of mention an election date, but we haven't heard about that date as well, because the DRC decided to send its Prime Minister, who was a member of the opposition that side. So President Kabila wasn't here. So we're expecting to hear more as to what exactly were the resolutions in terms of peace and stability. And also we know that the issue of industrialization was key on the discussion. So we are hoping that we'll get more information on what exactly were the resolutions as the SADC Summit concludes today.
All right, Mweli, we'll definitely touch base with you as soon as those proceedings, of course, get underway. That is our reporter on the scene there, Mweli Masilela. He's live to us from Pretoria, and of course, he's giving us the latest in regards to the SADC Summit that is taking place there. It is the final day today, and it will be starting anytime now. We are expecting the President Jacob Zuma, as the new incoming chairperson, to address the delegates and wrap up that conference. We'll definitely bring you those live proceedings.